Hello Rebel and welcome back to my life. Hey, let's move to Oregon. Of course, as with any family move from Los Angeles to Oregon, my trip started with a flight to Vegas. Here's the truck we're going to be taking to Oregon. So I didn't get another chance to film until I got home to LA, so I feel like maybe that needed a little bit of explanation of why I was in Vegas. So in essence, to pick up a U-Haul, which is the crappiest kind of moving truck, from Los Angeles and drive it one way to Portland and drop it off there was going to be about $1,000 more than flying to Las Vegas and picking up a Penske, which is the best kind of moving truck, driving it to LA, and then driving it to Portland and dropping it off there. So even when you take in the cost of the extra gas and the plane flight, it saves a whole lot of money. So I just drove for 6 hours after flying for an hour. Yay! So now it's the end of the day. Packing and loading the truck, not conducive to filming. So I decided to stop trying to get useful footage and to save my filming for the end of the day. And I won't be able to film tomorrow morning when we get up and jump into the truck and drive off to Oregon either. So for my final video in this house, I want to show you around. Here is the place that was our kitchen. This year, I started using this place a lot more often as I started cooking, which is something that I've always wanted to practice and learn how to do better, but never got around to until this year. For the record, my go-to dish is a garlic mushroom chicken recipe that I am incredibly fond of that pairs very well with wild rice. This was our backyard, and I know this is a bad shot because you can't see anything. I've always hated it because no grass would ever grow here. It was always dirt, but up until this March, I spent a lot of time out here smoking and still have the occasional, or had the occasional cigar out here, and a couple of times sat out here for hours with cigars and scotch, talking with friends and family. This was a sort of miniature office for Megan. For years she ran a daycare out of here, and then it was her office where her computers were. This was our laundry room. We have literally put thousands of loads of laundry through that washer and dryer. This was our dining room. Our dining table always sat right here with about 6 chairs that were always breaking. This was our living room. The TV was almost always against that wall, and we always had 2 couches, one against that far wall and one right there where that dog cage is right now. They were always terrible, old, ratty couches that we used to complain about endlessly. But I've slept on them many, many times. I've watched some of my favorite TV shows on them right in this room with Megan. This living room is also where I introduced my kids to Pokemon for the first time, and several of my favorite movies from when I was a kid. This was our closet. It was always a mess. This was our front door. Almost every friend that we've ever had in Los Angeles has come through that door at least once. Almost. Not all of them, but almost. This was our staircase. First time we came here, I told Megan that the fact that this house had a second floor was a big selling point to me. I love having an upstairs and a downstairs. The reason I love having an upstairs and a downstairs is actually one specific reason, and it's Christmas. I love coming downstairs on Christmas morning. It's my favorite thing of my favorite day in the whole world. This was Luke's room, even though Dawn is the one asleep in here right now. This year was the first year that Luke started spending entire nights in here. Before that, he would always wake up and come to our room. This was considered Dawn's bathroom. When we were checking this house out, she was very excited at the prospect of having her own bathroom. This was Dawn's room. When we moved into this house, we only had Dawn. We didn't have Luke or Desmond, and she started sleeping in here in her own bed pretty soon. She had her first posters on the wall in this room. It was a Star Wars The Force Awakens poster right there on that wall, right there. This was my office. One of my first YouTube videos was moving into here from my closet, and I wrote all of the Underrealm books so far. The first 4 books of the Nightblade epic, and the first 3 books of the Academy Journals, all written in this room. I wrote 7 books in this office. This was my office when I first started making enough money as an author that I didn't have to do other work. This was the office when I first joined Sterling & Stone, and this was my office when I left them. Underrealm started here. Started in this room. And now it's empty. This was my bedroom. I can't tell you about most of my favorite memories in here. And this was my closet. Okay, even though we've already visited the office, the closet needs special mention. When we first moved into this house, we had roommates, and this closet was my office. It is big enough that I was able to put a desk right there and use that to work from. I wrote Touch, Non-Zombie, Non-Zombie 2, Hit Girls, The Ninja Bread Man, Mid-Realm, and Wormspire, all in here. All told, I wrote about 1 million words in this closet. And that was the start of my writing career. This is also the first place that I recorded my first YouTube videos on this channel. Like, the first ones were the podcast, the storytelling podcast, but then I started my actual YouTube videos, like these YouTube videos. It was right over here. Okay, so the framing was something like this. My hair was a lot longer, and there were snowboards in the background, and like I was filming on a crappy webcam, so the frame rate was all weird and everything, and this is where the YouTube channel started. Okay, so it might have just hit me that I am leaving the house where I started my YouTube career, my writing career, and literally everything that has made my life as incredible as it is. So that's not making me feel anything. No. I'm so glad that I get to make this last video here before we go, and that I've made other videos here during the time that we've lived in this house, just because I don't have a video record of most of the places that I've lived during my life. Like, the house that I grew up in as a kid is this amazing, incredible house. And when my kids get older, they won't get to see that house. But hopefully, unless like the internet and YouTube dies, they'll always be able to come and see this one and remember where all 3 of them spent the first years of their lives. Whew. So anyway, I need to go to sleep now, because I'm clearly very tired.